so we're going to go on to the next piece of the mitzvah here, of the din, which is how to get your money back. So you lent the money, and now you want to get the money back. So there's two parts to the shiur. One is how much pressure is the malva allowed to put on the loiva? What is the zechus that the malva, the lender, has on the borrower to get back the money? You can force him, you can pressure him. What's he allowed to do? And then we're going to learn a little bit what's the chiyuv of the loiva to pay, because we can't just be protecting, we're not just going to be protecting the loiva. We got to protect the malva also. We're not in New York City over here. So we have to also figure out how to protect the malva. So let's start with this Gemara in Bava Metzia. The Gemara in Bava Metzia talks about a pasuk in this week's parsha. We just learned the pasuk we've been talking about. In Kesef Tal Vesami, Es Ha'ani Imach. What's the next words? Anyone remember the pasuk? Lo Sia Lo Kenoishe. Do not be a noishe on him. Don't be a person that's pressuring, being a noishe on him, grabbing him. So what is the law of Lo Sia Lo Kenoishe? What is that all about? So, Ki Aser of Dini Amar. Minayin Lenoishe B'Chaver Imoneh. Someone owes you see where it is with the little line on the side? You know he doesn't have the money. Even you're not even allowed to pass in front of him. That you like to miramis and pressure him like, hey, remember me? You don't owe me, you owe me money, but you know he can't pay.
Don't pour salt on those ones.
Right. So the Gemara learns out from here that there's an isser of pressuring someone, but the Gemara says that talking about a guy who doesn't have money. It's very clear that the law is pressuring someone if you don't have money. Now this could be a nice thing. It's a nice thing, Loisiyah Kadosha. The Rambam is moina this law of Loisiyah Kadosha as one of the 613 mitzvahs in the Torah. And it's a separate mitzvah in the Torah. You're not allowed to pressure someone if they have no money. Look at the Rambam in the next page.
Again, why would someone lend someone money?
What?
Then why would
They
someone
did it
lend?
when they thought he would be able to have
Oh, very good. Well, let's go one step at a time. Very good. She says, "Kol hanoiges ha'ani." Anyone that pressures an ani. Look at the next verse. You know he has no money. Ma'yachzir, to give you back. Oiver b'loisaseh, he's over alav. Shnever loisiyah lo kenoishe. You're not allowed to be put pressure on him. How would you translate noishe? Put pressure on him. Well, mitzvah say, if you don't have the money, you should do it, no problem. No halacha gimel. Also, l'adam leher aris lehar ois atzma lebal choyboy bizman she'yedea she'en loy afilu lav lefanav shlo yafchidoi o yachliboy ahu b'she'en letoyboy ve'en tzark lamar im toyboy. Okay, so he's saying if you know the guy has no money, then don't pressure him and don't even pass by him. Or Shul says. So now, hold on a second. We're trying to protect the loiva from being embarrassed because you're passing by him. So now the Malva says, I lent this guy money. Now he can't pay me back. I get it. So I don't want pressure. Now I have to switch shuls because now every time I pass by him, I have to be worried that he's thinking. So what does that mean? So why are we more worried about his territory than my territory? I also don't want to switch shuls now because maybe he should leave. I mean, if he doesn't like that, I'm here. Right? So the Aruch HaShulchan says that if you don't have kavanah on it, then it's mutter. I would think the pshat is because if you don't have kavanah on it, he knows you don't have kavanah on it. If you do have kavanah on it, then you know that you have kavanah. You can't hide these things. A person that's kavanah, pshat is this guy. Everything he does bothers me. Every time he walks in with a new tie. Why are you spending my money on that tie? You should be paying me back. Everything about this guy is bothering me, right? And I'm holding it over him that he owes me money. Even if I never said a word, he knows what I think. You can't hide this stuff. So if you have no kavanah, then it's mutter. But it has to be you have no kavanah. Then he'll know that you have no kavanah. The Aruch HaShulchan, the place can want to say that if you're going to be in that situation, that he has no money to pay, and you lent him money, and you're worried about this Indian, then you should go over to him and say, I know you have no money. When you get money, you pay me right now. Don't worry about it. I'm not being much, but don't worry about it. You have no money. I'm fine. And don't think twice. Don't think twice until your matzah gets better. If you speak that out, then when you're passing him by, he's not going to feel a lachas because you've already spoken it out. So that's what the Poskim say is a good answer to avoid this law. Now, what about Rafi's question, which is so now I can't even ask the guy back for the money. So we're talking about clearly that when you lent it to him, he had the money to pay. And the Poskim say, if when you lent it to him...
So what happens in the case he's person's an ani, and then you're lending an ani?
If a guy comes to you, and he has no plan, or no concept, or no idea how he's going to pay, you say, so what does he say? When what's the classic line? When my tax refund comes back, right? I just put my taxes in. When my tax refund comes back, I'll pay you. Now that tax refund is leveraged 16 times over already. It was spent, it was spent 3 years ago already. When he borrowed up in 2026, he borrowed up the 2029, tax refund he's going to make. So you have to be realistic when you're lending money. The Chavetz Chaim and others said, if Lamaisa, you know that can't pay you back. But you're not going to be a Chatzachayim. And when you lend the money, you know you can't really pay back, and you're not going to be a Chatzachayim, and you're going to pressure the guy. Better not to lend him the money. Better not to lend him the money, and then be over the law and see like a noisha. Either give him what you can afford. Say, I can't lend you money, but I can give you part of that. That's but now, Lamaisa, a guy that borrows money with no intention of how to pay back, is doing an Isser. He's not allowed to do that. So because of Kutchim writes that therefore you have the right to assume that he still has the money. Because it's a good child here. What happens if it's a suffix? I don't know if he has the money. I don't know. What do I know? I don't know if he has it or doesn't. Am I allowed to go and text him and say, where's the loan? And then he doesn't answer me. The next day I might text him, where's the loan? Right? Now, it's a suffix if he has the money. So the Minchas Chinuch says, Safik D'Oraisa L'Chomer. On the side he doesn't have the money, you're over the law of L'Siyah L'Kenaisha, so maybe at Safik D'Oraisa L'Chomer, you shouldn't be allowed to pressure. Because if Kutcher writes, one second, but if he borrowed the money with no plan about how to pay, he was a Rasha. So I'm allowed to assume he understood how to pay, and I'm allowed to assume therefore he still has the money. So unless I know B'vada he doesn't have the money, the law doesn't apply. It has to be that the law only applies when you know he has the money. If it's a suffix, right? Does that answer anything of your question or not really? What's your issue? What's your question?
I'm saying you don't know what he has and what he doesn't have.
Right. But when he came to you originally, what did you think? He has? He just his employer, look, I just put in extra hours, I put in this amount of work, the money's coming in, I just need to front the money against my paycheck. I don't know if that story makes sense. Whatever, there's certain things that make sense why he would be borrowing money and he has a way to pay it back. Right? I mean, it's hard to understand a little bit how someone's going to borrow money and then pay it back. Because if he's that desperate to borrow, what's his plan exactly? Because I'm getting a new job in 2 weeks. I mean, there's ways that it makes sense. I'm in the summer, I'm between jobs, I'm starting a new job in February. There is svara.
I think what he's getting to is that obviously if someone's not needing, someone fell on hard times, then you're rubbing salt in the wound. But if someone that you suspect is really just playing the game, why shouldn't you go back to him and says,
100%. I'm not
so is that not a law?
No, that's not a law, because you can assume he has the money.
Even though possibly he doesn't.
Right, so that's the
So based on your assumption.
If he's schlepping, then obviously there's a reason why he's schlepping, so then...
Or he's using it for other investments.
People schlep because they schlep. It doesn't necessarily mean that they don't have the money. But...
Does the same halacha apply to a creditor?
What?
Does the same halacha apply to a creditor?
Creditor.
Business, a creditor. If he owes you money for supplies, the same halacha applies?
No.
They don't pay.
That's a good point.
No, but if you allow the pressure...
No. It's only a free loan. If a guy bought merchandise from you, and his terms are 90, and he's out 120, and he still hasn't paid,
The homes are not making money.
Huh?
The homes are not making money.
You said homes, I didn't say homes.
But they're on a yacht and
But the state doesn't make a difference.
Huh?
You allow the pressure. No, it doesn't make a difference. You allow the pressure.
They don't pay anyways. From pressure to today to tomorrow.
Neither does the lawyer.
No, but in business, he's taking advantage. Because he knows that the little guy needs this account and take my terms. That's it. You know. So it's a little bit he's taking advantage. You know. There used to be in Rivers to talk about is 210 net 30. You know, I was all laughing. I gave that to you. Net 30. Who pays 30? Who pays 30 days out? You know, it doesn't exist. But
Actually, just spoke about it this year.
what?
At ECAP, actually, they actually came down very hard.
Yeah.
They spoke about how people are abusing the vendors and you can't do this.
Right. But
They,
guys,
they don't care. That's
They actually came down very hard this year. They said this whole system needs to stop, needs to turn around.
No, there's too many people. All the big guys are.
they don't care because they're buying more homes and they're taking their management fees, whatever.
Yeah.
From
A lot
Medicare.
of
So
places.
Okay. Al Kapanim, the law doesn't apply l'chayr in a business. That's a good shot. We don't discuss that.
Huh?
Right. L'chayr, it doesn't apply.
I can tell you some
The same way
places
the
that have
Chaim
turned
said that
around.
there's no mitzvah deraisa to lend on credit. You're not required to lend to sell on credit. Okay? But that's an interesting shiloh. What happens? Okay. Now, Lamaisa, there's an unbelievable. I just want to show you how this is brought in Shulchan Aruch. It sounds like a Musar shmooze. Be a nice guy. Listen. It's not a Musar shmooze. There's a lot in the Torah to do this. It's unbelievable. Like this Herigish. It sounds like he borrowed. Don't make him feel bad. It sounds like like what we talked about in in school. Like, oh, don't make the kid feel bad. No, there's a lot in the Torah. It's brought down in Shulchan Aruch. And the next page, Simon Tzadi Zion, Siv Gimel, and Siv Beis. Osir Limgois is Haloiva Lefroya. But again, same lashon. Kishi Yodeya She'en Lo. If you know he doesn't have. Afilu Laharis Lo, even to present yourself. In case you Nichlam, or Oisei feel bad. Vein Yalder Masegas in front. You can't pay. You just can't pay. Now, by the way, just look at Siv Gimel. Osir Laloiva Lichvosh Momen Chavera Veloimar Lo Lich V'Shoiv Umachar Etain V'Yeshitai. The lawyer also has responsibilities here. He can't do it. So before we get to that, one is a Gavalka Shiloh the Rosh has. A Chuvas Rosh, you would think this is mamash written today. This Chuvas Rosh with bankruptcy laws and all sorts of stuff. It was unbelievable. This Chuvas Rosh I saw last night after we learned. Chuvas Rosh has the following Shiloh. He says that somebody, let's get named Reuben lent Shimon money. It seemed like it was a lot of money. Reuben lent Shimon a lot of money. Shimon, now Reuben is the Malva. He sends the following Shiloh to the Rosh. He says, this guy Shimon supposedly gave away all of his money, all of his nechasim, even his wife's job, everything, he gave away to his shvager. So now everything's under the name of his brother-in-law. Ad kedei kach, he has no parnasa. He has no parnasa. So he moved into his shvager's house. And he's being supported 100% by his shvager. He has no money left whatsoever. Nothing. He gave everything away. So every time I call him up to pay the loan, Norvas, I see him walking around every day. Every day's a new suit. And his wife's walking around with a new sheitel. And this one does that. And every time I say, well, what is this? No, my shvager doesn't want me to feel bad, so he gave me more stuff. So he transferred the ownership, right? He transferred the title of all of his nechasim to his mishpacha, to his kraven. Ad kedei kach, and he had no parnasa even. He has nothing under his name. You could look every bank and look, he has nothing under his name. And this guy had to hire a good bankruptcy lawyer, right? It's unbelievable. So he sent everything away to the shvager. The shvager supports him, and so when I ask him, hey, can you pay me? I have nothing left. I don't have anything. So then he says, he has two shilohs to the Rosh. Number one is, it's obvious that the guy is just playing the game, like Zalmi said. There's no normal person gives all their stuff and doesn't even keep the chayav by himself. No one gives away all their stuff and doesn't even keep their basic needs, right? Obviously, if he did that, he's just doing it so he doesn't have to pay me back. So is that valid? Number one. Number two, then he says, so even, that's the first challenge. But the second challenge, so I tell him, but when I lent you money, you had a job, you had a good business. But all of a sudden, you moved into your shvager's house, you closed down your business. Reopen the business, make money, and pay me back. So he says, no, I can't, I'm too depressed, I don't want to open my business anymore. He doesn't want to open his business, Ruvain says to the Rosh, because he knows if he opens his business, he has to pay me the profit. He has to pay me. He doesn't want to work. Is the malva permitted to make the guy work so that he can pay him back? This is the shayla. So two-tier shayla. First shayla is, this said he was mavriach, this said he threw away all the stuff to the shvager, and everything's under my brother-in-law's name. Does that work? And number two, can the malva make the loiva work? And the shayla asks, he said, I have a raya that if you owe someone money, you could force them to work. Why? Because when you sign a ksuba to the wife, it says there, and it says there clearly that she can demand that the husband work. It's funny, right after we finished learning, the guy came over to me and he says he has a neighbor, a whole story, and the wife came over to his wife, Shabbos, and started crying, whatever, that the guy's sitting on a couch all day, doesn't want to work, they have no money, fine. So the wife is allowed to demand, what? The wife is allowed to demand that the husband go work. She said, the wife is allowed to demand that the husband work. Why can't I demand that my lawyer go work? It's really the same thing. So the Rosh says, Legabe the first Shaila, you're 100% right. If the guy went ahead and put everything under his brother-in-law's name, but really, it doesn't make sense. He only did that for the purpose of not paying you back. You're allowed to demand that stuff goes to you. You're allowed to convey it from him, even metalton.
What stuff?
In English,
What stuff? He has
All
no
the stuff that used to be his, and then he gave it to his brother-in-law.
it's what we call in English like fraudulent conveyance. If you convey something fraudulently for ill intent, take it all back.
Right, right. So even though the bankruptcy attorney told him, just put everything under your brother-in-law's name, this stuff happened 1,000 years ago. That's what I'm saying. It's geschmack. This stuff is not new. So he says to him, he says, that is a good taina. That if the guy fraudulently went ahead and marked everything under his brother-in-law's name, you could go be good for that stuff. But your second taina, that you think that you have a right to make the guy go work, no, you don't. Why? Because he says that the Gemara says, in this week's parasha, Kisikna Eved Ivri. What's an Eved Ivri? The Gemara says, because he stole, he gets sold. And Bezdin can only force someone to sell himself as an Eved if he stole. But if he owes money as a halva, Bezdin cannot force him to sell himself as an Eved. And hiring yourself out as an employee is the same thing as becoming an Eved. So Mamela state in the parasha, the Nimkar B'gnei Vasa, the Limba Halva and Mamela, you cannot force the guy to work.
In modern day,
Unbelievable.
in modern day bankruptcy, if somebody goes bankrupt and he can't pay his bills, is Dina Shema and Medina Shema, does he have to pay?
That's next week.
Or Dina Machis Dina?
That's next week's year. Is bankruptcy valid in halach? You can prove
Yeah,
it's not. Afdina Gamachusa.
Midday Shemayim.
Right?
No, even
Bezdin.
basic.
Even Bezdin. Can Bezdin enforce it? Right? Because, it's obviously besides for Shemitah, there's nothing that just makes loans disappear. So there's no chapter 11, chapter 8, whatever, 10 point, whatever. There's no bankruptcy in halacha. But the question is, I'll in the Machos Dina. Okay, but there's fascinating tshuva from the Rosh. So forcing the guy to go work is actually loisiyah l'kenoisha. You're not allowed. That's not a time that you have on him. The time you have on him is that he has the chassid, so he has what to pay. He has what to pay. So it comes out the whole lot is talking. He doesn't have what to pay. So, Lamaisa, you go to the guy's house. You have stuff. You have stuff. You're not allowed to go take his bed. You're not allowed to go take his food, his refrigerator, his basic stuff.
You can take his pictures.
Yeah, but you have stuff that you could pay me with. So obviously something he makes money with or basic money you can't take with. So that was a very fascinating thing because a lot of times a person will get frustrated when they see that you owe me money. You're sitting at home all day doing nothing. Go to the store. And bag groceries, but make some money, pay me back. Show me that you're making an effort. So the Rosh says you don't have a time on that. Fascinating tshuva on the Rosh. Okay? Now, on the flip side, however, on the flip side, however, let's talk about the other one. Let's talk about the loiva for a second. The loiva has money. So what's his responsibility? So, there's two reasons, and I put these out of order a little bit. We'll go to the last page first. Gemara B'Mitzvah. Gemara B'Mitzvah, Daf Kuf Yud Aleph Amud Aleph. The Gemara brings a pasuk. There's a lot of law in the Torah that have to do with stealing. There's a law called Lo Sigzol. There's a law called Lo Sa'ashoik. Lo Sa'ashoik is Re'acha of Lo Sigzol. Lo Sa'ashoik is also stealing. So what's the difference between Lo Sa'ashoik and Lo Sigzol? Okay? So look at the Gemara. The Gemara says, Ezehu Oishek, Ve'ezehu Gezel. When are you over the law of Lo Sa'ashoik? And when are you over the law of Lo Sigzol? Amar B'Chizdel. So Chizdel says, Leich v'shoiv, zehu oishek. Oishek is when you have the money, you're not paying, and you tell the guy, I'm going to pay you.
Just come back.
But come back tomorrow. Leich v'shoiv, go back now, come back tomorrow. That's the law of Lo Sa'ashoik. So the time came to pay, and you're drinking a cup. And he tells you, lech v'shoiv. Now, that's law of Lo Sa'ashoik.
Just assuming that the guy doesn't have the money.
What?
Just assuming that the borrower does not have the money. If I come to the guy's house and he
No, maybe
"That's
so many
tomorrow,"
has the money.
So why am I over Lo Sa'ashoik?
That's from the.
Oh, you mean the loiva has the money.
Right.
The loiva has the money and he's holding it.
Right.
And then, what's Sigzol is when you say, Yesh l'cha b'yadi v'eini nosim lach. I owe you the money, I have the money, and I'm not planning to pay. So that's flat out Gezel. Gezel is when you're not playing the game. You just completely don't care. So, Gezel is Yesh l'cha b'yadi v'eini nosim lach. I'm not paying you. That's Gezel. Oishik is you're playing along. Okay, look, ping pong, let's go, come back tomorrow, I have the money, that whole game, that's Oishik. Okay? So the loiva also has a lav. Obviously, if the loiva has the money and doesn't plan to pay his gezel, if he has the money and he's not paying when he's supposed to, it's a lav of Lo Sa'ashoik. He's going to go lav. Now, if you go to the Gemara before,
Is there about two lava?
what?
Is there about two lava?
Well, it depends which one he's doing.
Lech v'shoiv is also gezel.
Lech v'shoiv, every time he does that, he's over Lo Sa'ashoik.
And on gezel?
Not yet. If he plans to pay, the dieter. He's not going to think he's going to pay eventually. He doesn't want to pay now.
It's only applies to.
Why doesn't he want to pay now? Because with this money, I can pay. Well, with this money, I want to make another investment. You can't go make an investment with the end of this money. So even if you're asking to pay, but you're going to push him off, that's shit.
It's also on a corporate level. Companies that they don't pay, let's say providers, whatever. It's also.
This seems to be a very hot topic. You came in 5 minutes late, already discussed all the industries, which ones pay, which ones don't. Already covered. So look at the.
I mean, a corporate is considered a separate entity from the person, or this kind of when the person is making the decisions.
I don't know about that. Whoever making the decision, you know. Now look at the Gemara in Pei Vav Amud Aleph in Ksubas. Unbelievable Gemara. The Gemara says that Amalei Rav Panel, he got down Priyas Bal Choiv mitzvah. Priyas Bal Choiv, paying back a Bal Choiv is a mitzvah. Omar, if he says, well, Nichal the Avin mitzvah, I don't want to do that mitzvah. Mine. Amalei Tanina, that there's a din that you're allowed to be makeh someone to do a mitzvah session. So there's a mitzvah to pay back a choiv. Zok Rashi, which mitzvah? Zok Rashi, mitzvah alav lifroya choiv, ula ames dvarav, to be be'emes, l'ksiv v'hein tzedek, she'hein sh'cha tzedek v'lav sh'cha tzedek. You have to say the truth. And therefore, since you have to say the truth, you have to pay back your choiv. So, 2 questions. First of all, the Ramban says that lav is when you never planned on paying back. But this guy, maybe when he borrowed the money, he was planning on paying back, and now he doesn't want to pay back. So, where is that necessarily muchach v'oiver hein shel tzchat tzedek? Second question: the Ramban in Basra has a different makar. Why there's a mitzvah? The real question is, Rabbi Chanan asks, why do you need a priest b'achar mitzvah? You're over Lo Sa'ashoik. What are we talking about? The guy has the money. The guy doesn't have the money. If he has the money. So then, what's he telling the guy? He says, Lech B'Shoiv, so he's over and over lav. So what's this new thing? Oh, you know why you should pay back? Priyas B'Chayv Mitzvah. So first of all, Priyas B'Chayv Mitzvah is, it's a mitzvah to pay back the minute it's due, even if he never asks you for it. Lech B'Shoiv is maybe you draft when he asks you for it. He asks you for it and you push him off. Also, over here, so I don't know, the Rabbi deals with this question, why is it not allowed? What's the extra chiddush of Priyas B'Chayv Mitzvah? But you see from Rashi that there's an extra chiddush Priyas B'Chayv Mitzvah that the loiva has to pay back the loan.
Why are they not comfortable saying that Hashem gave an S on it also to make it strong, and that's an also?
Stop, it's an extra
Why are you
chiddush.
not comfortable with that?
No, I'm saying because what's the essay say? That it's not pasha or anything you have to?
Hashem wants you to pay back, wants to give you an S that you're over.
So besides that, you're also over. About you're over
There's
Leisach.
something, there's an S in the loises that makes it much stronger.
Right. About you're over
And
Leisach.
evidently they don't want to go with that, I wonder why.
Maybe that's a pasha shot. About you're over Leisach. But besides that, there's also an essay that you have to pay back. But also you have to pay back on time, right when it's due. There's a mitzvah to pay back. And Rabbi Chaim Soloveitchik Tainas says, don't get carried away because maybe someone will say, hey, it's only mitzvah's essay, so it's a mitzvah potem in a mitzvah. So I'll make sure that I'm, davening all day, and okay, I'm potem for the mitzvah. It's not that type of mitzvah. You have someone's money, you gotta pay back. So Al Kapanim, Hagam that we're busy protecting the loiva, right? When he doesn't have. So on the one hand, you see the Torah is like very delicate over here. If the loiva doesn't have the money, then the malv has to be sensitive to the loiva. Assuming that he had the money originally. If he didn't have the money when he borrowed, then he's talking to him to the right thing. Loiva Rosh Hashanah. But if the loiva borrowed with good intentions, and now something happens. So it's on the malva to be sensitive to that. But if the loiva borrowed and now he's playing the game and he has the money, then it's on the loiva. Then we put a lav on him, we put an essay on him. There's a mitzvah's essay to pay back. You over a lav on Sasha. So it goes both ways. That this idea that you have to be mamish like right in the middle of understanding that there's a mitzvah to lend, there's also a price to pay back. There's no mitzvah to lend and still lose your money. But if he's in good faith and he's planning on paying you back, he doesn't have the money now, then don't pressure. So it's very geschmack how the Torah puts it that there's a perfect balance between the loiv and the malva. They both take a chrayas over here in terms of how to pay back the loan. What else is there? I feel like he said something else over there. Another star, but okay. Fine. I think that basically.
I think it also fits into your drasha from last week about his heart is
Right. You have to know that there's a din, there's also a chesed in the din.
One thing is went along,
Right.
went from a volunteer and now
Right, there's a chesed in the din as well, exactly. Now, just one other thing is that I'm going to leave with a question. A lot of times when people lend money, they want an arif. They want an arif. And there's two types of arifs. There's actually three types of arifs. Let's talk about two types of arif. There's a type of an arif that arif comes second. First, the malva goes to the loiva for a while. He tries to get the money from the loiva. Eventually, if he doesn't get money from the loiva, he goes to the arif, the guarantor. There's another type of arif, which is called an arif kablan, where it's more like a co-borrower, where the arif takes equal responsibility to the loan, and you could be teveya the loan from the arif even before you go to the loiva, theoretically.
Called the co-signer.
Co-signer, co-borrower, it's not a guarantor, it's a different type of arrangement. Which is very, again, because ribis, whatever, fine. But right now, let's say a person's an arif kablan. Why would you be an arif kablan? What? Because really, you're willing to lend him the money, basically.
So why
aren't you lending the money? Because you don't have the cash right now. But basically, I want you to get the money. I'll facilitate you getting a loan from him. and if it comes that you can't pay him, then I'll pay it back. So essentially, you're the loiva. Let's get realistic, right? The Arv Kalman is basically the loiva.
He's just using the real lender's money for his money to be the lawyer.
Right. So now the Malva is going to get back his money from the Arv, and the Arv is going to be on the hook to get back the money from the loiva, right? So my shaila is, which I did not see anyone deal with, no one talks about this, is do you fulfill the mitzvah of lending money of Inkesef Talves Ami by being an Arv Kalman? Because essentially you lent him the money. Right? You definitely are doing a mitzvah of chesed, but are you doing the mitzvah of halva? And it's a menafkamina because if I'm just doing a chesed, then you know what? I'll go visit someone in the hospital. It's a much easier chesed for me to do than to do this, right? But if I'm doing the mitzvah of halva because I'm partially, really the money that's coming from the lender is really coming from me, basically. Because at the end of the day, I'm on the hook for it. So am I doing the mitzvah of halva by doing this, or am I only doing the mitzvah of chesed by doing it? And to be nefkamina, like what am I doing? And to anybody discuss this question, l'cha'ira, once you pay, at that point for sure is halva. But once the Arif pays, then he's for sure doing halva to the life. But the question is, even before that, by enabling the loan and really being on the hook for the loan, that the Malvik can really come and get him right away.
Does he get a schar?
Does he get schar for the mitzvah? Is it what's the level of mitzvah to do this? Am I clear to be an Arif?
He for sure gets schar for helping his friend get the loan.
It's definitely the chazak boy. You're helping him. You're doing chesed. I want to know is it the mitzvah of lending? If it's not the mitzvah of lending, maybe I don't want to do it. Mitzvah of lending, I read the Chafetz Chaim. Chafetz Chaim talks about how great the mitzvah of lending is. Okay, you know what? This is a good way for me to do the mitzvah of lending. I'll be an Arif. But stamazai, otherwise maybe I don't want to. I don't want to be an Arab otherwise. So I didn't see a good answer to this. What the other things is you're not Makayim? Well, in Hilchos Ribbis you're a lender. Shibble. Let's say there's a Goyish Malva to a Yiddish Loiva. There are a lot of churches. But the co-borrower is also Jewish. It's also. Why? Because it's considered that the money is coming from the co-borrower.
Wow.
Because he's the one that he's on the hook for the money. So halachically, you're not allowed to be a co-borrower to a yid on a loan from a bank. We have to have ateiska between the two.
But that's only if he stops paying, or no, even if he pays.
You shouldn't be right. So I'm saying we look at the loive, at the art of Kabbalah a little bit like the Malva. So I want to know about the mitzvah, is the Makayim mitzvah. Okay. And as a Shem next week we'll talk about what Shmuel brought up about David. Okay? Start with myself. Go. Yeah, and what right, and what about the art? Is he allowed to be Kedosh? I mean, I don't know what, I'm not sure there's enough Mina there, but